Hello and welcome again to Chewin the Bean, the show where we eat beans and talk about things happening in Lima, Ohio. I'm your host, Cody Ridengmouer, and today I'm joined by Grant Kimmerer from the Wild World of Animals. And Grant, you're headed here to Lima again in just a few days with your show.
Yep.
You want to tell the whole world a little bit about your show?
Our show is very unique. It's a complete mix of animals. I mean, we have arthropods, amphibians, reptiles, birds, mammals. The main theme, the thing we hope the most that people take away with them, is with a very clear and good understanding that every single animal on this planet is very important, extremely important. Big, small, cute, ugly.
Even the ugly ones.
Even the ugly, which, speaking of which, my first guest, I actually have in my hand right now. Would you like to meet him?
I don't know, man. I guess. Oh boy.
Don't want to mess up the beans. So, we know what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Very recognizable.
Yep, that is a scorpion.
That is correct.
Yeah.
This is called an emperor scorpion. He comes from Africa, and it has the distinction of being one of the largest scorpions in the world.
Mm-hmm. That's a big one. Yeah.
That's a big one, except they get even bigger than this, literally up to about like that right there.
Wow. I gotta tell you, I'm not a fan of,
you could hold him if you want.
I would rather not.
We haven't had an accident in 3 shows.
Wow.
Yeah.
You need one of those signs, you know. 0 accidents, yeah. Yeah, he makes me real nervous.
Well, here's the thing. And you would be like most people. Most people, they see an animal like this, their impression is, I better run over and kill it before it gets me. And unfortunately, that's kind of a byproduct of television and movies, which give you the impression that an animal like this, its sole existence is to hunt you down and sting you and kill you. Well, let's break that down. This particular species, their main defense is really not even a sting. He does have a stinger, he could use it, and he is venomous. All scorpions and spiders are venomous, but his giant pinchers are actually his first line of defense. So if he feels threatened, he pinches. And once again, why doesn't he pinch me? He's a professional scorpion.
You're like your best buds.
I wouldn't say best buds. Okay. You know, we kind of acknowledge each other at holidays, but outside of that, okay, you know, he does his thing, I do mine.
Well, I think I'm ready for the next one. As cute as he is.
You got it?
Yeah. Oh boy. No, I said no snakes. That was in.
And I followed that rule to a T.
That was in the contract.
And we did not break that contract because this is actually not a snake.
Long, squiggly, scaly. Kind of looks like a snake, man.
Except it's actually a lizard.
Really?
Yeah, believe it or not, it's called a legless lizard. That's the way it's supposed to look. We didn't take a pair of scissors and try and invent a new species of animal. Yeah. These guys are differentiated from snakes in a couple different ways, but very important. Yeah. If you watch his eyes, you'll see him do this at times. He'll blink or keep his eyes closed. Has eyelids just like we do. Snakes do not. You know how a snake has scales all over his body, right, which so does he, but a snake has a scale that covers each eye. So impossible to close. Right. Then if you follow that eye just slightly back, you'll see that little hole, that little opening? Yeah, that is his external ear. Now snakes, they do not have one. Scream as out as you want, snake will never hear it. And from this part of his body right here, all the way to the end, a tail. So if a predator were to grab him and he struggles to get away, in that struggle, the tail can break off. If it does, that part, the nerves will start making it move very quickly, drawing the attacker's attention, allowing him to crawl away and survive, and then eventually he'll grow back a brand new tail. Now, not all lizards can do that. Snakes never.
Snakes can't. How do you know where the body ends and the tail begins?
This portion right here, that's called the cloaca. That's where he goes to the bathroom and, you know, all the, you know, sexual organs are. Gotcha. So from that point on down is tail. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of see. I know my kids would be very interested to know where the tail starts. So.
Yeah.
Now I can tell.
Well, in their terms, it's the butt. And yeah, all kids are interested in where the butt is.
Yeah.
The kids get real technical on that.
Thanks, Grant. I'm excited to see what else you have for us today.
Now this, of course, is a very recognizable animal. As soon as we see that top portion of the shell, you know it's a
Armadillo.
Exactly. This little guy is named Caesar. He's a 3-banded armadillo. 1, 2, 3 bands that connect the upper and lower portion. There's 6-banded, there's 9-banded armadillos. The 3 bands allows him to curl up into a ball. Now he's going to do that if he feels threatened, which he's really not going to feel threatened right now.
I have a lot in common with armadillo.
You roll up into a ball too?
To avoid interpersonal conflict,
Well, it's actually a good way to protect all those, internal organs and sensitive parts. So that's why he does it as well.
I don't want to work stuff out. I just want to hide.
Now he is awake, but this is how we wake him up if he's completely asleep, which he is an extremely nocturnal animal. But as soon as you put him down on a surface, his nose comes in contact, boom, he just springs to life. Now, out on the ground, he would immediately start smelling for bugs and grubs and earthworms and anything along those lines, at which point he would dig up with those big giant claws that he has and eat them. So in just a very small area in a night, he would find everything that he would need to survive. And that's what he does. That's about full speed right there, which is why rolling up into a ball is very important, because he's not going to outrun anyone. He can't climb a tree. He's probably not a good swimmer either, so just stop where you're at and roll up into a ball.
He looks buoyant, but maybe
yeah,
not so much.
Not so much.
Well, hey, Grant, here on Chewin the Bean, we review bean dishes. We eat them.
Okay, makes sense.
Tell people at home what we think. Yeah, Lima bean.
Except these aren't Lima beans.
These aren't. These are some sort of dried green beans. Once again, the producers outdid themselves with the budget, and so I say we have a little snack here.
You first.
All right.
That was the one I was going to take, but okay.
Apologies.
I was not expecting that.
I was not either. That is interesting.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I would almost eat that as a snack, not on a show about eating beans. Maybe. So we've got a couple more animals, I believe.
We do.
Some feathered friends here. Oh my, what a beautiful bird.
He is a very beautiful bird known as the laughing kookaburra, which we're going to see if we can demonstrate that right now. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! 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 He is a very loud bird for his size.
Yeah.
Now, did you recognize that call?
No.
Really?
I did not.
Well, a lot of times when you watch television and movies, when they're trying to give you the feel that someone's in a deep, dark jungle, you'll hear all these different kind of jungle sounds playing in the background. That's always a sound that you hear when they're trying to give you that feel.
Kind of like you always hear a loon in the country, even though there may not be water.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And they'll show you like a bald eagle. They'll show you a bald eagle soaring in the sky, but they'll make the sound of a red-tailed hawk instead. They'll dub it over. So yeah, sometimes TV and movies can be the worst places to try and learn about animals. Now, you saw him watching you.
Yeah.
The problem with him is he was born and raised in captivity from the time he was a little baby. Now, you would think that would make him some sweet, warm, wonderful little pet, right?
That's what most people would think.
It can actually be quite the contrary, because when birds and mammals are oftentimes raised in a captive setting, they lose that natural fear of humans. Most animals want nothing to do with us. They want to be as far away from us as possible. A captive animal, hand-raised by a human, obviously not the same. But when that animal reaches maturity and there's a hormonal change, well, things can go bad. Now, in the wild, he would be looking maybe at another male kookaburra at which he might attack or fight with to protect or take over territory.
Can I try to make him do the sound? Or
Sure,
is that like
please.
special to you? Was it a woo?
Go for it.
Woo! Woo! Nothing.
Nothing. Maybe a little bit more energy.
Woo! Yeah.
He's not buying it. I'm going to try.
Yeah. All right. Just. Yeah.
Yeah, he's giving you a look like, I'll take care of you, buddy.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo-hoo! 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 Woo-hoo-hoo!
Well, that was amazing. I'm glad I didn't meet my demise.
David, I'll have you come. You'll stand right over here, and you're going to meet Max. Now Max might seem very intimidating and scary, but actually he's a really easygoing bird.
Max looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now Max is called an eagle owl. This animal comes from Europe, Asia, North Africa, this particular one from Europe, and this is the largest owl in the world. Except the girls can actually be upwards of 30% larger than the boys.
Wow.
So our female that he lives with back at home, 30% bigger than that.
Wow. Is he wise?
No.
No.
Anything but.
Anything.
Yeah, that moniker, the wise old owl,
Stereotype.
is absolutely not true. It falls in the same category as blind as a bat. Bats see perfectly well. You see his eyes. You can't miss them. They're huge. They're enormous. Proportionally, if your eyes were as big as his, yours would be the size of a grapefruit.
Oh, wow.
But those eyes take up so much room, there's not a lot left over in there for a brain. Yeah, they don't operate in that context.
Yeah.
Now you'll notice his head. At times it'll spin what looks like all the way around. It's actually about a 270-degree turn. The reason why he does it, well, he can't shift his eyes like we do. Yeah, without moving our heads. We can look up and down and left and right. He can't. He doesn't have an eyeball. It's an enormous tube that sits in that head. So he compensates by moving the entire head instead to look at things. Wow. He has twice the number of vertebrae that we do. We have 7. He has 14.
Wow.
And by the way, how much do you think he weighs?
I mean, comparing it to like a turkey in the grocery store, I'd say maybe 12, 14 pounds.
And that's a really good guess, and actually much closer than what most people started. Most people are like 20, 30, 40 pounds. In reality, he's probably 7 pounds.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you take away all the feathers, there's a lot less of Max. The bones are hollowed inside like all birds, which makes them, lighter for flying.
Well, Grant, I think you have one more
Yes.
friend to show us today, and I know that everyone at home is very excited about Miss Amy. Is that her name?
Miss Amy.
Yes.
Now, I have a treat that you can feed Miss Amy.
Oh, I get to.
Yeah, she's not a big green bean fan.
All right, here you go. Oh, wow.
And she will use her claws to basically hold on to that. Now, don't be deceived, even though sloths are extremely slow moving, they're actually really intelligent. Yeah, there's a lot going on in that little sloth brain right there.
Yeah.
Of course, she's hanging upside down, seems very strange, but that's what they do. Almost 20 hours out of the day, they're sleeping and usually hanging upside down. And this, by the way, is a two-toed sloth, which is a little misleading because there's a two-toed and a three-toed. Mm-hmm. Both have 3 toes in the back, but the front foot is where the two-toed would have just 2 toes and the three-toed would have 3. But it is a very, very just popular animal that people go crazy for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just hanging in there. Well, Grant, if you want to tell us when the show's coming to the Civic Center.
January 19th at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Yeah, and you don't want to miss it. Most of the animals that we had here today will be on the show, but there'll just be so many more. I mean, a binturong. You know what a binturong is?
Nope.
Most people haven't. For that alone, you have to come to the show.
Okay.
It's the largest prehensile tail animal in the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, we talking bigger than a bread box? Or?
Bigger than a bread box.
Well, I can't wait to see it. And
I hope
I'm
so.
so glad you came on the show today. To get your tickets, go to limaciviccenter.com. And if you see me around town, ask how I've been.